The two versions of the events in the police report are that they're relatively similar. This is, I believe, Officer Wetzel. He was told by one of the witnesses that Carmelo Anthony went into this pop-up, sat down, Austin approached him and told him to leave, to which he responded, he grabbed his bag, reached in and said, touch me and see what happens. They then say that Austin proceeded to touch Anthony, and then Anthony told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Anthony to tell him to move. Anthony pulled out what Redacted recalled as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest and ran away. Austin began grabbing his chest and telling everyone to get help. Redacted advised he did not know Anthony's name, but stated another Memorial Track member who goes by the initials E and P was friends with Anthony and could identify Anthony. Redacted described Anthony as a black male, skinny with possibly a goatee, short puffy hair, wearing Centennial High School clothing, and that concluded his contact. The second witness account was that Carmelo Anthony was actually pacing back and forth beneath the tent. So that's an important addition to the claim because it implies he had the ability to flee at any moment. So the argument that there was a threat of death upon him was that if he's pacing back and forth, according to one of the witnesses, he could have paced well out of the way of any harm.
Even without that, of course, the challenge to him was leave. So he was being given the opportunity to leave.
The second account doesn't mention the punch me and see what happens, just the touch me and see what happens, and it added that he was pacing back and forth. So give us what you need in Texas for something to be self-defense.
You need to have a reasonable perception that you're facing an imminent, unlawful threat of deadly force harm, and you need not to have provoked that conflict.
But interestingly, too, Texas doesn't require you to flee at all.
There's a catch there. So Texas is a stand your ground state. In fact, it's what I call a hard stand your ground state. If you qualify for stand your ground, the jury's not even allowed to consider the possibility that you could have retreated in evaluating whether your self-defense was reasonable. But if you can be characterized as the provoker, if you provoked a confrontation, you reacquire. You don't qualify for stand your ground as a provoker, and you reacquire a legal duty to retreat. So to the extent the prosecution can argue that Carmelo Anthony provoked this confrontation with his touch me, see what happens dialogue, that would lose him stand your ground and he would have a legal duty to retreat.